Hi, welcome to another edition of Project Life from the Garden Girls at Two Peas in a Bucket. This is Amy Tan. I'm going to show you how these two spreads came together. So I started by gathering a bunch of supplies that I wanted to use, and I got them from different manufacturers. I stuck with the similar color scheme though, and obviously I didn't use all of these items, but I'm trying to incorporate as much as I can from this stash. All right, so the first thing I always do is I lay out the photos and kind of get an idea of which pockets are going to need embellishments. As you can see here, I have a lot of photos to work with, but I'm just going to focus on one side of it. So I'm going to move this over and just concentrate on this left side. The process is usually the same each week. I've got the photos and I've got the supplies, so I'm just going to flip through the 6x6 pad from Simple Stories and look for some papers that I think would go well with this spread. And the reason I like using 6x6 pads is because it's really easy to trim off the 4x6 cards as well as the 3x4 cards. Fun little colors here and patterns. So I'll just pull a few pages and I'll also go through and look at the bigger papers that I have. Now, since these are all from different manufacturers, these are from Ellie Studio. It's fun to mix and match. The way I chose them here was by picking similar colors. And I wanted to find out on the back where that cherish was, so I didn't trim it off. But I've got that little piece there. And now it's just a matter of figuring out what I want to use where. So I'm cutting these two as 3x4s. So I'm just kind of playing around with it to see where I want things to go. That looks good. It's coming together. This one I definitely want to include here because it says Raindrop Bodyworks, and those little leaves or whatever kind of remind me of raindrops. Ellie Studio also makes these great tags and these little circle tags as well. So I'm just choosing the best ones that will correspond with the color scheme I have going on. This little one looks perfect too. And I decided that I wanted to use the typewriter to add some journaling at the top of my card, so this is how I'm doing it. Just simply putting the paper in. Oh, I realized that it was a little too thick, so I removed that. And I'm just going to type out my journaling right here. If you all find a working typewriter, a vintage one, I seriously recommend getting it. It's quite an investment, but it's really fun to use. Some people get them for really good deals too. So I'm just going to add this card right on top. It's already got the adhesive on it. And I decided that I wanted to type out that gray piece. I wanted a typewriter on that as well. So I'm just feeding it through and doing the same thing. All right, almost done. Just take it out, looks good. So I want to finish this off by adding some stamping. And also this will be the weekly title card. So this is Hero Art Shadow Ink and a Hero Art stamp. Looks great. So these are the Allison Kreft washi tapes with Webster's pages. And I think I'm just going to add a little strip of this pink floral at the bottom. I thought about using those thickers, but instead I decided to use these stamps to spell out the word week. And I think I want it in pink, so I'm going to either use this one, it's bubblegum, or actually this Hero Arts Neon will work better. All right, so I'm just going to stamp the word week. And sometimes it helps to wipe off the excess. If you are really concerned about getting just the letter in, you might need to do that. So I've got also this great Matisse ink, and I just took a calligraphy class a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to incorporate a little bit of what I learned. So I spelled out 15 right here, and then I wanted to play around a little bit with emphasizing the hello. If you guys have an opportunity to take a calligraphy class in person at a local studio, I highly recommend it. It's really fun. And you don't have to have great handwriting to do it. Now I just want to add the actual dates with this slick writer in gray. And it looks great. So I'm going to work on this card next. You don't necessarily have to go in order. In fact, most of the time I don't. So I'm just using this chopstick holder from the restaurant, and I wanted to include it at the bottom right here. And I'll add journaling to this tag. I just need to trim off the top a little bit. Once again, I'm going to use the calligraphy pen and add aloha right here. It's actually called a nib. Decided I want to stamp this date right here from Simple Stories. I'm going to use black ink. This is Versamark or Versafine. And I wanted to emphasize the date a little bit more, so I'm using this Uniball Signo white gel pen, and it's fantastic. I suggest just writing a little bit slowly. And now one of my favorite items to use is this watercolor set. I've got my paintbrush, dipping it in some water. I take a simple drinking straw. It's just a plastic straw that you can get from anywhere. And I'm going to show you one of my favorite little techniques. You probably have seen this in videos before, but I'm just making a little splotch right there, and then I'm taking my drinking straw and I'm just blowing the paint so that it spreads like that. Really kind of fun to experiment with. Once again, just adding a little bit more water and another splotch right here. Sorry, all you can see is the top of my head. Just filling in the spots right there, and I'm going to let it dry. With this card, I want to just add big washes of color. These watercolor sets are pretty cheap. I got this one at Michael's, and I think it was $6. And to speed up the drawing process, I can also take my heat gun to it. Nice little ombre effect. And I'll do the same thing with the pink over here and the straw. But I realized after I did this that I kind of wanted a yellow background. I should have probably done that first, but since I didn't, I'm just going to show you what happens. So it kind of bleeds a little bit, which I don't mind. It's just fun to play around and experiment. And because I ran out of patience, I went ahead and took my heat tool and I dried this. And I'm going to start the right side of my page. So I've got these great Heidi Swapp alphas and all this kind of set up. I ran out of M's, so I turned a W upside down for yum. These are great. It comes with a bunch of letters, but I've somehow used them all. So this little tag is from Ormolu. I think that's how you say it. And as you can see, I'm using the watercolor card that I made. And I want to just add my journaling at the bottom over here with a precision pen from American Crafts. This is the .03. All right, so I just want to line up the other photo. These are printed from Persnickety Prints. They are 4x4 prints just on matte paper. So I realized that I wanted to use this little piece as a banner. So just cut a notch into it and then add my journaling directly on it. This is a solid runner. It's good for those alphas. They're a little bit translucent. There, that looks good. Decided not to use that piece. So to tie in from the left side, I'm going to use the same paper. And I kept the bottom tear strip on it. So I hope you have some ideas of how to add a little bit of an artsy touch and mixing up collections to your next Project Life spread. Here's how it turned out. Thanks for watching.